Welcome to Escape to the Country. This magnificent castle behind me has, over the centuries, played host to both medieval and Stuart kings, but when its current owner bought it less than 40 years ago, it was, in his words, a total wreck. So who might be persuaded to take on such an ambitious project of restoration, and where? Well, join me in just a moment and I'll tell you. On today's show, two friends partner up to help one of them fulfil a long-held country dream. But bonding with the locals could prove tricky.
Somewhere to sit out and enjoy looking at those cows.
We've laid them on especially, Chris, to help you try and overcome your cow phobia. And if the figures stack up, our properties are right on the money.
I'll have it. Can I have it?
Of course you can, if you can afford it.
Yeah.
How much is the question, isn't it? Well, today we are in Northumberland, and this is the very splendid backdrop of Chillingham Castle, home to the Grey family since the 13th century, a family who, amongst other things, gave us a very popular blend of tea. Now, over the last 800 years or so, it's been lived in, fought over, and then finally left to rack and ruin until its current owner, the very colourful Sir Humphrey Wakefield, bought it back in the early 1980s. Now, later on in the show, I'll be getting my own very special guided tour in the company of Sir Humphrey himself, finding out just what it takes to restore a building like this, but also getting a little insight into what life is really like in a very Englishman's castle. Right at the head of England, Northumberland is the country's crowning glory, sharing County Durham and Cumbria's county borders with Scotland just the other side of its northern boundary. And Northumberland's prime position, sitting shoulder to shoulder with Scotland, has greatly influenced the county's heritage and architecture. The coastal castle at Bamburgh was a key stronghold in Anglo-Saxon Northumbria, and the epic 1900-year-old Hadrian's Wall charges over 70 miles from the north to the Irish Sea, cutting through the region's wild, dramatic and remote countryside. With swathes of secluded beaches and the UK's least populated national park, it's small wonder that Northumberland has been voted the most tranquil county in the country. Well, for a county with some beautiful rural and coastal locations, Northumberland also represents pretty good value for money. Currently, the average price of a detached property is £223,000 here. That's some £60,000 below the national figure. But for all of its celebrated coastline, coastal properties are hard to find. However, step inland and you are blessed with not only beautiful countryside, but also exceptional value for money. But before we continue exploring this wonderful county, we're heading a little further south in the country, to the town of Conisbrough, near Doncaster in South Yorkshire. Home to today's buyer, Chris, a retired lecturer, and her best friend and neighbour, Linda, who works as a nurse.
I used to have the pub at the bottom of the road, the Castle Inn. I was a landlady there, and Linda used to come in. I didn't really know her then, but I heard that when I thought about moving here, she was a bit worried because she thought I was a bit stuck up. But anyway, I moved in, and we became good friends almost immediately, didn't we?
Yeah, I realised she wasn't stuck up after all.
Living next door to one another for 12 years, Chris and Linda have developed a close bond and have even put a gate up between their gardens so they can wander freely in and out of one another's properties. Boundary hopping may soon cease, as Chris has recently put her 3-bedroom detached home on the market.
I've been very happy in this house here, but it's getting a bit big for me now. So I'd like to move somewhere that's not so high maintenance, and is warmer, and so I wouldn't have to spend so much time and so much money looking after it. And also, the traffic, although it's an unadopted road that I live on, they use it as a shortcut.
It does get very busy on that road at the top, and we both, when you do some part-time work, don't you? And I walk up to work. You know, the traffic sometimes, the fumes and the dust, you know, and you just think, oh, it does get you down a little bit.
A creative at heart, Chris now wants to downsize and escape her urban surroundings to find inspiration from the sea and countryside of the northeast.
The area that I'd like to move to is the Northumberland coast, because I had a friend who sadly died this year. And I used to spend time with her. She lived in a caravan on the beach, and we used to walk on these empty beaches. It's so unspoilt and wild up there. She found her artistic side up there, and she's sort of inspiring me to want to go up there and find my creative side as well. I will write that novel.
And aside from artistic aspirations, proximity to her family is also fueling the decision to relocate.
I've got two sons. The elder one lives in Austria and is married an Austrian woman. My younger son has married a Scottish girl, and they've just moved up to Edinburgh. So that's one of the reasons why I'd like to move, because I'd like to move somewhere closer to them.
So with family to visit, things to make and books to write, this Northumbrian move heralds not only a change of location, but a complete change of lifestyle for both ladies.
I think this is an important move for me because it will probably be the last move that I make, and yet I feel now, at the age of 64, I'm still young enough and still active enough to make that move and make new friends and find new interests.
You know, I'm going to miss her when she goes, and we've got such a good friendship. It's a shame, really, not to still be near her. So possibly, you know, when I'm almost ready for retiring myself, I might actually go and join her.
For the best chance of finding what Chris, or indeed Linda, is after, our Northumberland property search will be focused in attractive villages within the northern portion of the county, pushing right up to the Scottish border and out towards the eastern coast. So I'm meeting up with them in the county to glean a better understanding of this impending move.
Well, Chris, Linda, welcome to Escape to the Country, and welcome to Northumberland.
Thank you.
So you now think that the time is right to make this move, and you've brought Linda along as some sensible counsel in this move.
Yeah, I think I just need to, you know, keep a check on her, really, and make sure she makes the right choices.
So give us a sense, Chris, of the kind of property that you are after.
Well, I like somewhere with character that's probably been something else, you know, like an old schoolhouse or something.
How many bedrooms? Because obviously you're going to want friends and family to come and stay.
2 or 3, because I've got 2 sons, and one lives in Edinburgh. That's one of the reasons why I want to move up, to be closer to him. So I need at least a spare room. I'd like to have a view. It doesn't have to be sea, but not far from the sea. And I'd like somewhere with a kitchen I can sit in, because I've not had that before, a garden that I can sit in and hang the washing out. That's important as well.
Now, Linda, you know Chris better than I do. How easy is it going to be to satisfy her needs, do you think?
I think it has to be something quirky for Chris. She won't make do with just boring or mundane. It has to have something unusual about it, because she's a very quirky person, aren't you?
And in terms of the budget, then, Chris, how much do you think you're going to have to spend?
Well, I've only got 200,000, so that really is the maximum.
Well, this is a beautiful part of the world. Why more people don't escape to the northeast, I simply don't know.
Don't tell them, though.
No, I think it's a really hidden gem that offers you brilliant value for money and beautiful landscape.
Yeah.
We've got a really interesting range of properties to show you. We've got some beautiful weather.
Yeah.
Shall we go?
Yep.
Come on then, follow me this way.
For a top budget of £200,000, Chris is after a characterful property with a kitchen, breakfast room and at least 2 bedrooms. Ideally, she'd like a garden with a workshop in which to get creative and somewhere with an inspiring outlook. And we've got a wonderful mix of homes to serve up, but I won't be revealing the attached price tags until they've had a good look around each one first. Then, last on the property agenda is our mystery house, which could bring the coast and my companions closer than they ever imagined.
Now, I gather you have a rather unique phobia, Chris, of all things, about cows. Is that right?
It's not a unique phobia. They're actually very dangerous animals, and they trample people to death.
How many people do you think are killed a year by cows?
About 7,000.
Did you just make that up?
You did make it up, because I can tell you it's 5. 5 a year.
I was close then.
Actually, double the number killed by horses. So maybe there is something in your phobia.
Yeah.
Our property search is heading right up north and just out of the county to the border village of Sprowston. From here, the Scottish market town of Kelso is the nearest place to pick up essentials and luxuries. Situated on the banks of the River Tweed, Kelso lies in a fertile valley within 10 miles of the English border. At its centre is a cobbled square which is the largest in Scotland and whose Georgian town hall is topped by a clock tower that chimes every quarter. The winding streets of the town host a vast range of shops and amenities, eateries and accommodation. These are all just a 10-minute drive from the property I want to show Chris and Linda back in the rural outskirts of Sprowston.
Right then, Chris and Linda, come over here. There we are.
That is beautiful.
Oh, that is really nice.
It's the end terrace, really, in this interesting complex of former farm workers' cottages.
The look of the house with the porch and even those tiles on the roof, it just looks so welcoming. It's just lovely.
The nice thing is, of course, it being on the end, it does feel more like it is completely detached because your garden goes that way and you've got those amazing views beyond over towards England, because we have stepped over the border, as you know, only just, about a mile or so. You've also got access to a communal garden out here.
The garden, that's what drew me in straight away. You can see already from here there's all little nooks and crannies where you could sit and summer house.
Is this the sort of thing that might appeal then?
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Let's have a look. Come on, let's stop talking about it. Let's see what you think.
Built between 1890 and 1900, at first sight this pretty end terrace seems to deliver on the character Chris was after. Recently refurbished inside, I'm confident the interior design will also match up to expectations. To the right of the entrance hall, we find the main reception room.
Right, Linda, you're in charge of the door. Come this way, Chris. Let's start with the living room.
This delightful space features a wood-burning stove in the fireplace and double doors out onto the garden.
Oh yeah, this is nice.
Yeah?
I feel like somebody like me lives here.
This first room is hitting the right mark for Chris, so it's all very good so far. What's more, we've also got a charming country kitchen.
I love it.
Do you?
Yeah. This looks like solid beach, is it?
Yeah, it is solid beach, yeah.
As well as rustic wooden worktops, the kitchen also has enough space for a small table and a great utility room beyond. Also on the ground floor is the family bathroom, fitted with a classic heritage three-piece suite. Then the staircase winds up to the first floor, where there are 3 bedrooms. One is part furnished and comes with a WC ensuite. Another is being used as an office/music room.
And then this is the master.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
The master also comes with its own ensuite shower room and a decorative cast iron fireplace. But the real highlight of the master, and indeed the whole property, has to be the large wooden balcony through the French doors.
Wow, look at this.
Wow.
Amazing view, isn't it?
Yeah. I can see a little river.
Now then, here's the story. That little bit of river you can see is actually just a tiny part of the River Tweed, and that's the border between England and Scotland. So those houses you can see beyond it, they're in England and we're in Scotland.
Right.
You couldn't be closer. And I love this time of year. I love seeing the harvest in and done and these round bales strewn across the landscape. It's just a lovely entree into autumn.
And you wanted a view, didn't you? I mean,
Yeah.
this is a lovely view.
It's not a sea
somehow-
view, but, you know, not bad.
Somehow appropriate that my English son's married a Scottish girl.
There you
I
are.
am.
Yeah, exactly. The whole family's now in Scotland, potentially. Not wanting to preempt anything, of course, Chris.
I'll have it. Can I have it?
Of course you can, if you can afford it. How much is the question, isn't it? Come on, let's go down there, give you a closer look at the garden and talk about the price.
So, as well as those stunning panoramic views, which the owner tells me deliver amazing sunrises, the cottage also benefits from a large communal lawned area and a landscape private garden. What's more, there's even the requested workshop in the form of a sage green timber summerhouse.
Now this, I'm thinking, would make a great writer's retreat.
Yeah, it's great. Writing and reading in there. It's wonderful.
Is this inspiring to you?
I just love it. Everything about it.
Yeah?
No, it's very you, this house, I think. Yeah.
Let's get to the nitty-gritty then, because we haven't dealt with the price yet, Linda. Go on then.
I would say 195.
195, just under budget.
I think it's above my budget.
Go on.
225.
225. This is on the market for offers in excess of £192,500. So you weren't far off, Linda.
No.
It's certainly under budget. It's a great property in a great spot.
I will seriously consider it.
Go on then, discuss it amongst yourselves and I will come and find you a little bit later on.
Okay.
Comfortably under budget, this Victorian cottage is packed full of charm and character. It has 3 bedrooms that include a most impressive master suite with commanding views from a private balcony. And outside, the gardens offer plenty of scope for Chris's creative ambitions.
Ah, here you are. Enjoying your garden?
I am. Just mind that way, I can't see the view.
Oh, pardon me, pardon me. Well, look, you haven't bought it yet.
No.
Our search will continue tomorrow, but in the meantime, I think we should go and enjoy a well-earned glass of wine.
That's
Come on.
sounds good. Mine's red.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
The incentive for Christine's move to Northumberland is the desire to get more artistic, drawing inspiration from her newfound coast and country environment. So we've arranged for Chris and Linda to meet Gerard van der Veen, an artist originally from Holland, who takes reclaimed and salvaged natural materials from the county and transforms them into home and garden features to attract local wildlife.
Hello, I'm Linda.
Hi, I'm Gerard.
Hello, I'm Chris.
Hi.
Gerard, what do you do here?
I make all kinds of things for the environment. I try to use old reclaimed slate and make all kinds of products to enhance life and nature.
So why slate?
It's a beautiful construction material to work with. A lot of people think even slate is slate. No, that's not. You have from rock hard to butter soft, so you really have to pick and choose your right piece of slate. Because from, say, 10 pieces, I only use about 2.
Oh, wow, what sort of things do you make?
I make a whole variety. I make bird feeders to bird tables to bird houses, nesting boxes. I really want to enhance nature.
After a career in product design, Gerard left the corporate world to set up his own enterprise, creating products that are environmentally friendly. Taking advantage of his proximity to the River Reed, which meanders through the village of West Woodburn where he lives, he uses the water to clean, soak and cut the slate.
Like this, yeah?
Yes. Just top and bottom, that's it.
Okay.
Just another 100 to go.
Would you go back to city life, Gerard?
Not really, to be honest. I fell in love with nature here, especially here in Northumberland. It's ruralness. The main reason why I live very rural is that because you can shape your own life. When you go back to city will shape your life, and that's the reason why I'm here in Northumberland.
I'm into making things from found objects, particularly driftwood I'm interested in, and there's lots of it, isn't there, around here on the beaches of Northumberland?
Yes,
Yeah.
nice. Now that you mentioned wood, of course I use slate, but I also use wood, and I'm using that also in the studio. If Linda's ready, we could go to the studio and have a look what I make from also wood and slate.
Okay, lovely.
All of Gerard's products are handmade in his workshop, and he's showing Chris and Linda how to make one of his best sellers using reclaimed offcuts of slate from across the county, mostly found or donated.
What are we making today?
Well, I was thinking of showing you my window feeder. It's my most popular product. The birds love it, but also the people who buy it love it, because you can see birds at very close proximity. This is the bottom. You put it in position there, under a slope. The reason why I use a slope, because the water will drain out.
Yeah.
So when you put the food on, the food will never get moldy, and therefore they will eat everything what you put there, and so you won't attract vermin.
Using eco-friendly glue, 2 pre-cut angled slates are hinged together.
It doesn't seem a lot.
You don't need that very much.
Then joined to the base and left to set. A bracket is then fashioned using salvaged copper wire, onto which a sucker is attached so the feeder can be hung from a window.
Where do you get all the rest of your materials from?
Well, the slate is coming from all kinds of directions, to be honest. A lot is donated, and I try to give it an extra life. So after hanging 100 years on the roof, I'm now trying to extend it with another, say, 25, even more years.
Slate is a dark grey metamorphic rock. Essentially, it's compressed mud that's been compacted and heated under extreme pressure over millions of years.
Finished?
Yeah.
So another 3 window feeders. I would say take the window feeders with you, and that's a token from me.
Oh,
Good
thank
luck.
you.
Thank you, it's very kind of you.
A lovely memory of today. It's been brilliant.
Okay,
You've been
thank you.
inspirational.
So let's trust that that inspiring vision continues when our house hunt gears up again in the morning. We're in Northumberland, which is where Chris, from a town near Doncaster in South Yorkshire, wants to establish a new life in the country. She's got £200,000 to spend and has brought along her best friend and neighbour, Linda, to help. We've still got 2 more property options to put forward, and our ladies are lost for words when it comes to the mystery house.
How do we feel about this notion, this idea? There is a deathly silence.
And I visit one of the county's many fascinating castles. Wow. To learn about its ancestors past and present, both inside and out.
I never thought I'd see prehistoric cattle in this number, not least in Northumberland. Well, I am loving this house search in Northumberland, and the unique dynamic between Chris and Linda is, if I'm honest, really intriguing, because on the one hand, we're trying to fulfil Chris's ambitions to make a move to Northumberland, but if Linda's hopes for the future are to be realised too, well, chances are she may not be far behind her, and that is where our mystery house comes in. Now, on the one hand, of course, I would love to sell it to Chris, but it's also got an interesting option for Linda as well. So could we be on the brink of pulling off a first for Escape to the Country, selling not just 1, but 2 properties?
However, before we get to the mystery proposition, we have another house to see. To get to it, we're going to hop back over the border between England and Scotland to the small rural Scottish village of Whitsom. Just over 3 miles away from the house, the English village of Norham is the closest place to find a good selection of facilities, from pubs and a convenience store to a baker's and a butcher's. Featuring a green surrounded by terraced stone cottages, Norham is one of the most northerly villages in England, so much so that one end actually lies in Scotland. The village sits in the shadow of the towering 12th century Norham Castle, whose ruins were first captured on canvas by the painter J.M.W. Turner in 1797 and came to feature in many of his works. So, following in the footsteps of one of the country's great masters, the landscape here could provide the perfect backdrop for our creative house hunter Chris, if she can see past the bovine neighbours.
Well, we talk about the peace and quiet of the countryside, but not here today. As you can hear, the farmers around about are busy sorting out their planting for winter crops and so on. So there's a bit of farming activity going on, but of course the countryside is a busy place, and all of this activity surrounds that.
It's a lovely looking house, stone built.
Here we are again in farm workers' cottage territory, and you can see this lovely Victorian sort of terrace.
End property again, so got the lovely views. Somewhere to sit out and enjoy looking at those cows.
Yes, now the cows. We've laid them on especially, Chris, to help you try and overcome your cow phobia.
Thank you.
They're enjoying the sunshine. They're not bothered by us, so I'm hoping that in time you won't be bothered by them.
We're very close to the house, though.
Yeah, but the fence is all right, though. I've checked it. Don't worry about it. But it also comes with this garden and that summer house.
Oh, I didn't notice that at first.
That's nice.
Now, that would be
Yeah.
quite a useful studio for you.
It was.
Linda, what's your first impression?
I don't think it's as pretty as the last house we saw, but just nice, yeah. Let's see what it looks like inside.
Right then, let's see what you think.
Although sensing a bit of trepidation outside, this stone-built semi-detached home is definitely worth a closer inspection. It's got a rather unusual layout, so could deliver that quirky character Chris was hoping for. Down on the ground floor is a double bedroom, a bathroom and an open-plan kitchen, dining and living room with a stone feature fireplace.
That's lovely.
Oh, it's nice.
I've never had a kitchen this big before.
But what makes this one slightly curious is that the main living room is not here, it's upstairs.
Just beyond the kitchen living area through a small hall lies the double bedroom and the main 4-piece family bathroom, which has 2 entrances. But in many ways, this is a property of 2s. It's got 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms and 2 living rooms, the second one being up the stairs on the 1st floor.
Have you ever tried upside down living? As it were.
No, but somebody who lives at the bottom of my garden's got an upside-down house.
And I've been to New Zealand.
Oh, there you are, look. What do you think?
That's really unusual, isn't it? I was just expecting a landing, but it's the whole floor. And I love the windows. I'm already thinking that I'd have a bigger kitchen and come and sit up here. Or maybe I'd have one room for music, one room for the TV.
Nice idea.
Quirky.
It is quirky. Well, you said that Chris would like quirky. Is this quirky enough, Chris?
It's quirky, yeah.
Up here, what could be Chris's master is another spacious double bedroom.
Fitted wardrobes. I like the shape of it again.
And finally, for the internal tour is the shower room. Again, Jack and Jill in style, so also acts as an ensuite to the master.
There you are. Jack and Jill. What a great idea.
I think it's fair to say that both ladies are suitably impressed up to now, and the final piece of the puzzle is what's on offer in terms of garden space. That and the all-important price.
This is the thing to consider now, of course, the garden. We glimpsed it on our way in. The main event here, really, is that studio summer house, which I'm sure you'd make good use of. Insulated, it's got power in it, and of course behind it, there's lovely views of the Cheviots.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I think it's a really simple proposition, but I think it could work for you. That's what I really like about it, and I think Linda's coming round to it too.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it would work for her, actually.
Yeah. Well, let's get down to the numbers, shall we? You've got £200,000 to spend. We're just over the border in Scotland, so make me an offer on this one.
I think it's near the top of the budget. I would say 195.
195, Linda?
Yeah.
No, I don't agree, actually. I think it's lower end. I think maybe even 175.
Oh, do you? Well, I'm afraid you're both wrong. But it's good news, because this is on the market for offers in the region of £165,000.
Wow, I like it even more now.
Thought you might. Right then. It's not a big place, but we will give you a little more time to go and have a run around and see what you think of it, get a feel of it, because it is different, that whole upside down thing. Go and enjoy yourselves.
Okay.
Okay.
And I will find you somewhere a little bit later on. Brilliant. You know, there's an old phrase which I rely upon every day: less is more. That's the way to get something simple, to get something efficient, and to get something which ultimately just works. And that's what I love about this property. Less is more.
£35,000 below budget, this Victorian semi-detached upside-down cottage has a modern open-plan kitchen, living and dining room. 2 double bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, as well as a substantial, fully powered summer house. And the property is situated in a peaceful rural pocket surrounded by farmland.
This house is probably more the sort of house that I was imagining I would want to have, because of that old exterior, some history to it, but all the mod cons inside. I wouldn't have to do anything to it, and yet it would be so peaceful.
Ah, I thought I might find you out here. Very useful thing, isn't it?
It's lovely. It's perfect, because already I'm having my studio workshop in here to do my driftwood sculptures.
I thought you might. You see, it's all coming together beautifully. So, we have potentially another property on your list of possibles, do we?
Definitely.
But there is one more to see, our mystery house, and for that we're going to take a bit of a drive back over the border. Come on.
Okay.
With miles of prime coast and acres of beautiful countryside, control of Northumberland has been a source of conflict for centuries. A legacy of this turbulent past is found within the now peaceful walls of the county's castles. I've come to visit Chillingham Castle, home to Sir Humphrey Wakefield. The castle had lain derelict for some 50 years, but Sir Humphrey poured his heart and soul into a formidable restoration project, and now proudly opens the castle to the public.
Sir Humphrey,
Jules,
very nice to see you, sir.
very good to see you.
And what a wonderful home you have.
I love it very much indeed. It's a wonderful border castle with all the strengths that you would expect, and all the history is still here.
It's interesting to stand here and imagine what this would have looked like when great retinues arrived to use the castle and host events over the centuries.
I mean, many kings and forces, assault forces as well. It's seen a lot.
But it's been your home since the early 1980s when you set about, let's face it, a pretty ambitious project. I'm fascinated to see just what you've done and how you've gone about it. Can you give me a very personal tour?
I don't show you.
It's wonderful.
Chillingham became fully fortified in 1344, and there have been very few structural additions since then, apart from the elaborate galleries built in the Tudor period which surround the central courtyard.
Oh, this is fabulous. Wow. What was this like when you first discovered it?
When I came here, it was a forest of trees, and wherever you see a stone cracked, there was a tree growing up, and it was just crying out for action. The stones here, the paving stones here, they were put in for the King's visit in 1603.
Which king?
King James I of England, the 6th of Scotland.
But the family's ancestors must have been a bit downhearted when they thought the king was coming, because the amount of expense they'd have to go to accommodate him.
They had cash, they wanted him to stay, they were on the up, and that was just the ticket.
So it was a nice political
It was
move.
a very nice, very good, strong political move, yes.
Oh, come on, show me what you've
Do
done.
come and have a look.
Sir Humphrey has tackled dry rot, collapsed roofs, burst pipes, birds and bats to bring the castle back to its former glory, which really shines through in the King James I drawing room.
Wow. Well, this is another moment in time completely, isn't it?
It is. It's the same moment in time, put in for the king.
Is that an Elizabethan ceiling?
Yes, 1500s.
But for all the challenges of restoring the castle and the responsibility of being the guardian of this building, what is day-to-day life like for you in a castle like this?
Day-to-day life is absolutely wonderful, and I love living here and feel very happy living here and feel the ghosts are happy with me.
Well, Sir Humphrey, it's been a real treat. I'm going to leave you in peace. Thank you very much indeed.
But there's so much more to see. Come back many times and see all our other rooms, because we've got lots of other rooms to show you.
There is so much more to see, and I couldn't leave without exploring some of the 360 acres here. And exclusively on the grounds of this estate are the Chillingham wild cattle, believed to be the only survivors of the wild herds that once roamed Britain's forests. Park Warden Ellie Crossley is taking me to see them from a very safe distance.
The bull there looks absolutely beautiful, and there is certainly something very prehistoric about the outline of the head and the shoulders.
Yeah, and the way the dappled effect makes him blend perfectly in with the woodland as well.
But in terms of the way you manage them, as I understand it, you don't interfere with them at all. No vets, no carving. You don't really even have to feed them.
No, I mean, it's literally just survival of the fittest out here, and that's how it's always been. So that's resulted in extremely strong, hardy animals that can do very well without our help.
It's quite a thought to think that this small number of animals that we're looking at now represent such a huge leap back in time.
And that's why it's really important to keep them here, because this shows such a vast difference between these animals and what we've now created on our farms, which are so incredibly different to these guys. A dairy cow wouldn't survive 5 seconds out here. On a farm, you have one bull who never has to compete for his females a day in his life, basically. Whereas here, we have 50 bulls, and they're all competing for that top spot to be able to mate with the females, and it's absolutely amazing watching that.
Well, it's a wonderful sight, Ellie. I never thought I'd see prehistoric cattle in this number, not least in Northumberland, but it's a real joy. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
What history these ancient cattle, the castle walls and its reputed ghosts have experienced over the centuries. In an unbroken cycle since the 13th century, the majestic Chillingham has proudly stood the test of time. We're travelling to our final property destination, which is in the hamlet of Guyzants in the heart of Northumberland proper, and also our closest location to the coast. Our ladies should be encouraged to know that the Mystery House is just 5 miles from Warkworth, a place they both know and love. Just a mile from the beaches and surrounded by the River Coquet, Warkworth is an ancient village whose steep roads are lined with attractive traditional buildings, housing an assortment of artisan shops, pubs, cafes and hotels. A 10-minute drive away from the action, in the quiet of Guyzants, is a 35-acre woodland where, within a private development of 12 holiday cottages, we find the last in our selection.
Right then, mystery house time, or mystery houses, because within this complex of holiday cottages, a good number of them are being sold off into private home ownership, as it were, as more domestic homes. So we have a choice of properties to show you. And we have two in particular that we'd like you to look at, which would mean, of course, Linda, that you and Chris could continue to be neighbours. How do we feel about this notion, this idea? There is a deathly silence.
Well, initially, I don't like it. It looks like a holiday cottage.
Exactly what it is. However, as I say, many of them are now being sold off to become individual homes. I have the keys here to this one, which I'd like you to look at in particular. But I think, Chris, we'll show you one down here.
OK.
Although it appears that Chris has made up her mind already, I've still got my fingers crossed that she might like the exterior of the cottage we've chosen for her.
What do you think?
Sort of looks like a glorified caravan site.
Given the robust but enchanting stone architecture and the history that goes with it, to be fair, I definitely wouldn't describe this development as a caravan park.
Come on, let's see what you think.
What we have to show Chris is an end-of-terrace old farmer's cottage with a neat garden that wraps around the back. Recently renovated to a high-spec, contemporary finish, on the ground floor there's a kitchen, a WC and the sitting room, which is our first port of call.
It's a bit small and a bit modern looking, I think. Not much character inside.
Sadly, they haven't been persuaded. Perhaps the kitchen might fare better.
It still feels modern and a bit plain.
Oh dear. Chris?
I agree. It's just not working for me.
Still no takers from either of our ladies, so this will be a whistle-stop tour. Upstairs, a family bathroom serves 2 bedrooms, one a double with exposed beams, the other slightly smaller. On paper, the mystery property seemed like an obvious plan to present. 2 great friends, 2 great neighbours, and here's the chance to continue living close by to one another. But it's not to be. So next, we need to talk about the price, which is normally the moment I look forward to. But on this occasion, I'm dreading it.
It does open up right around here.
Yeah, it's a fair-sized garden, isn't it?
I could certainly see this, you know, bursting with life with some clever planting and what have you. I mean, yeah, you've got the neighbours around, but it is what it is. It's an old farm complex. But again, this lovely architecture coming through.
It's a nice outside space.
Hurrah. We got a good thing. We got one thing right with this one for you. Humour me and make us an offer on our mystery house.
I think, given the proximity to the sea, I'll say 150.
150, Linda?
I was thinking the same, actually. I thought about 150,000.
So let's say you both agree on 150. This is on at £175,000 because of its proximity to the sea and all the things that you've identified, Chris, really.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I don't think you need to have another look inside this one. However, I would appreciate it if you would go and have a look at the first property we saw, Linda, which I think might be of interest to you. I'm still hoping. You know where it is. It's around the corner, and I will come and find you later on. Be interesting to see what you think. Off you go. Well, there you have it. Sometimes it goes really well, and sometimes it goes really badly. And sometimes it feels like a real disaster.
Comfortably under budget, the 2-bedroom mystery home for Chris is a stone cottage in a small private complex of both residential and commercial properties. Set within a 35-acre site and close to the coast, the development has another lot for sale, so could enable the 2 friends to stay as neighbours.
Has it sold itself?
No, it's too small. It just feels the same as the other one.
However, ordinarily I might be crestfallen and desperately disappointed, but I think we've shown you some really good properties this week, Chris, and maybe 1 or 2 of them may provide an option for the future.
Maybe.
Maybe. Right then, come on. Let's go and think about it. Well, when I last saw Linda and Chris, I certainly got the sense that perhaps not all of our efforts this week had been in vain. There certainly seemed to be a little twinkle in Chris's eye. But have we managed to find her a home for the future? Well, let's go and ask her. Well, how are we doing then?
Great, thank you.
Are you feeling refreshed,
Yes.
relaxed,
Yes.
relieved?
Yes.
I thought you might be. Hopefully it wasn't that bad, Chris. Where are we?
I like the property with the balcony
Yep.
and the upside-down house.
Right then. 2 properties to choose from. A property with a balcony near Kelso. What did you think of that then?
It was beautiful. I felt that somebody like me had lived in it.
You said that when we got there.
I know. And then I found out that it was an artist's house. It was just beautiful.
But then we took you to what we're now calling the upside-down house, Chris. And clearly that works for you as well.
It was so modern, and it would be a lovely house for people to come and stay as well. The price of the upside-down house is appealing, but I'm trying not to let that sway me absolutely. So I'd have to come up and see them both again. Probably bring my son and his wife with me.
I mean, we know you wanted to be nearer to your son. He, of course, lives in Edinburgh. So actually, it might work out quite well.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to be Scottish as well. So I would be, almost.
But from both of those properties, you can look out and see England. I mean, you couldn't be closer to the border.
No.
So, Linda, you also have said throughout that you were also considering following your neighbour and moving up here. Would you do it?
I would actually, but I think I would have something nearer to the coast. But I'd still be near enough to Chris to see her regularly.
So you won't be near neighbours. You may indeed end up on either side of the border, but clearly remaining the greatest of friends. That is, I think, very obvious for anyone watching this. So I wish you all the best, Chris, in making what could be quite a difficult decision, but one which I hope will give you everything you've been looking for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Northumberland and its border with Scotland has been hotly contested for centuries, but it would seem we've left Chris with a contest all of her own to try and choose between 2, I think, pretty exceptional properties. But unlike so many of the fierce battles that have been fought up here over the years, I do hope hers has a happy ending. I'll see you next time.
A week after our visit, Chris tried to make plans for a second viewing at the Upside Down house, but alas, someone else had already snapped it up. So her search continues. If you'd like to escape to the country in England, Northern Ireland, Scotland or Wales and would like our help, then please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.